Welcome to the podcast, Eye for Talent, the show where we've got an eye for talent. I'm your host, Dylan, aka DJ Cereal Sauce. I'm a YouTube content creator. I'm a Twitch streamer. I'm a producer. I am the executive producer of the Nothing Is Anything brand, as kind of decreed by the people in the group. But this isn't about me. This is actually about my guest, Peter.
Hello.
Hello.
You've probably seen me on anything NIA related. So.
Yes, you have. He is he's just an artist, man. He's just an artist. But on top of that, he also works as what he has described as an associate of the Anita Marie Art Gallery.
Fine art gallery.
Yeah, fine art gallery. It's not regular art. This isn't no pedestrian Joe Schmo art. This is highfalutin art. This is fine art. Shit goes hard. Right? And so, as you'd reasonably imagine, a lot of the questions are going to be revolved around specifically that, because as a person who, I respect that you enjoy art a lot. I really do respect that. Art bores the shit out of me. And so I have never been to an art gallery.
All right, fair enough. I mean, it's not everyone's forte. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I also think that's just because like you have a more like, I don't know how to describe this. Like, this is like definitely a stereotyping thing, but like you just have such a calm personality that I'm like, that makes sense.
I could find him in a museum or an art gallery.
I have too much pent up energy. I can't like museums are a little bit different, but like museums kind of bore me a little bit. I'm just not that interested in art galleries. I'm just like, I avoid them because at least with regular museums, there's like interesting stuff, or like there's a lot of history behind a lot of these things. And if I go to an art gallery, it's not always guaranteed that everything I'm seeing is going to have history behind it. And I think that's my thing, is like, I'm a knowledge freak. I wouldn't want to go to an art gallery and just kind of look at the art.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, if you could always try to learn more about art so that you can actually go to a gallery and kind of critique and look at the pieces yourself and kind of but look at what kind of brush strokes they used, kind of the paints, shadows, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
whether they thought negative and like you could study that.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, it's also something that like as I somehow keep finding ways to incorporate more and more things into my existence, art being one of those things in asterisks. I'm sure if I was to actually buckle down and start getting into that and start getting into like the technical aspects of doing art, I could definitely see myself being more into it. Just as of currently, I'm not, and that's fine because this isn't about me. This is about you. I'm already like 3 minutes delayed on saying this, but welcome in. How do you feel?
I feel pretty all right. I got over a headache earlier today, so that's nice.
Oh, okay.
No, I got over it.
I'm
glad. I'm happy.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. So I was, my brain went in two different directions. Where on one hand, I was like, that's good to hear that he's getting over a headache, and on the other hand, whenever somebody like, this isn't supposed to be about me, but whenever somebody comes into one of my streams and I ask them like how they're doing, how their day is going, sometimes people will be like, I have a headache, and I'll be like, all right, well, turn down the volume because I'm loud as shit. and
I'm gonna mute me because I'm loud and annoying as fuck.
Yeah, and then I come to remember like that's not how headaches work, really.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
It certainly isn't the best. It's not gonna fix the problem.
Yeah.
I have so much energy. I think people being entertained by me is offset by them having a headache and potentially having it be slightly worse for me being loud and annoying sometimes. But
just be so loud and so annoying that it just, how like computers, you will, if you put too much information to them, especially with some algorithms, you'll put too much information to them and they'll just fucking crash and stop. You should do that with headaches. You just system overload until you just like pass out, wake up, boom, ready to go.
Hold on, sorry, I thought you were going down a different path with that. Weren't you the person that had to go into like a creative, like an entrepreneurship type class or something, and it was like inventing a new product, and you invented a headache worsener that you take, which retroactively makes your regular headaches and when you're not on the worsener feel better?
Yeah. yeah. It by comparison made your normal headaches feel okay, and it didn't help with the pain. It just caused pain so much that your normal headaches felt mild in comparison.
Yeah.
I remember that. I completely forgot about
Because
that.
that shit had me cackling when you said that. I was like, what kind of ass backwards design is that?
The perfect one.
Did it work?
I don't know. I didn't make it.
I guess it was all theoretical. That makes sense. So yeah. So on top of Peter being an artist and an associate at this art gallery, he's also a designer.
Yeah,
He's
I
an
guess.
inventor of the headache worsener and also the you've heard of a silencer. He invented the loudener.
The Loudener, yeah. One of my favorite inventions, actually.
um, let's cut the shit. Let's cut the shit here. Tell the people
Okay.
how much you love art and art history, because I need to know.
So, art history, not so much. Art history is okay. Art history is I. But when it comes to appreciating art, I love every single part of it. The process, the people who make it, the end result, um, things from digital art to surrealism to acrylic versus oil painting to modern art from the 20th century to modern art like today, and how that's changed and all like how that kind of goes along. I love hearing arguments between people who are classical, and by that standards it means trying to replicate a part of reality as closely as you possibly can. That's what kind of classical is, and them arguing about the fact that um uh oh god, sorry, modern art is just kind of a sham. And I love hearing that stuff because it's intriguing and interesting to hear what these particular artists think about this particular part. I like making art myself. I like producing it. I like every single step of the way. Sometimes it can get annoying, but anything having to do with art, from the people's the creation to the arguments to the history, I love.
Hell yeah. I guess I've already immediately started doing this shit out of order. But oh no, wait, hold on. Well, I did it in the wrong order, but I thought that I had to pull an audible here. No, I actually have this question written down. Who would have guessed? I'm like semi good at my job. I was gonna
Let's
ask,
go.
at what point in time, like, how did you get into art in the first place? Like, what happened when you were a little baby boy or like a prepubescent child or whatever age you were, where you were like, this art shit or this art stuff? Sorry, I'm into that.
So there's this middle school that I went to. It was a private Catholic middle school.
I'm so
Um,
sorry.
I know it sucked. And the one good thing it did was that it had a mandatory 3 hour long art class for every single middle schooler student. And you would take art classes from your freshman year all the way up till you graduated from high school in that school.
Jesus
So
Christ.
I took arts classes from, what is it, sixth grade to eighth grade. Um, I loved it. It was great. It was all about the first initial class was all about basically developing the skills to look at a thing and take that thing and put it on a piece of paper, but perfectly proportioned and all that kind of stuff. Don't worry about shadows, just proportions and lines and trying to make things bigger or trying to make things smaller. It was all about that. So I spent the entire first year of my quote unquote art career learning how to become a printer. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. There were some moments where I was angry because I was new and didn't know what to do, didn't know what to be doing, what I should be doing. But I enjoyed it, and that was the one thing that came out of that school that was good was that art program, and I really hope they continue to do that.
Huh. Okay. I had like a revelation midway through you talking about this, where I
Gotcha.
realized I think part of the reason that I'm struggling so hard to get into art is because of the fact that I don't have any, like, a lot of the things that I've gotten into creatively have been things that I've just been like, you know what, fuck it, I want to do this, and I just go and do it, and I don't really get any training or something. I just like the most extensive form of training that I get for my biggest hobby that I do, which is making music. I just did by watching a handful of videos from a guy who makes music, and I was just like, all right, here's the deal. And with art, I feel like I can't get away with that. I feel like I have to have some degree of classical training to be able to
It's not
achieve
even
that.
training; it's just
I guess like you're
committing.
just the fundamentals being the fundamentals being taught to you in a classical way.
Yeah, it's just committing, honestly.
Well,
Because I
that
mean,
too.
being in a class helps you commit to actually learning. There's tons of videos on YouTube, explaining processes and explaining fundamentals and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of them are quite good because I mean, a lot of them are the same fundamentals of like, hey, you need to learn how to actually properly proportion things from reality onto a piece of paper so that you can go from there. Because then that allows you to think of it like a progression tree, I guess you could say. You've got to learn that. I cringed at myself. You got to
level up your skill tree.
You got to level up your skill tree. Yeah, no, you've got to learn that so that you can draw things from reference.
Yeah.
And you've got to learn that so that you can have your own creative ideas and put them down to paper from memory. Because if you can't put something from like a picture frame on the wall and put it on a piece of paper with like accurate proportions, it's going to be perfect, just similar or accurate.
Good enough.
Then you won't be able to take an image from your mind and put that on a piece of paper. It'll be way more difficult. So that's like the first step.
Yeah.
And then from there you branch out and you find your niche and go, oh, I like painting or I like this and all that kind of stuff. But you got to start there. You got to commit to that. And whether you do it with pencils or paint or pastels or digital art or fucking, I don't know, throwing paint at a wall. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. You just got to commit.
Huh. Well, yeah. I mean, ultimately, the committing is the biggest part of it. Like, every single person who's come on here has been like, if you're going to do this, you have to be willing to put in the time and being willing to be okay with sucking at it sometimes so that you can do better.
Yeah.
But art was one of those things that I just never really understood how to get the grasp of because of the fact that I don't understand the fundamentals. I think the best thing for myself would just be to go and find stuff that can just teach me that. Because when I asked my friends how to get into doing art, the first thing they told me was to find your niche. And for some reason, I took that as a fact, and I took that as the place to start. That. And they, like, both, for the record, both of you know what you're doing. My get, like, you and those people both know what they're doing. My guess is that I either took that way out of context, or my friends were telling me that, assuming that I would have already understood. I should understand how to, like, be able to draw shapes properly, and then being able to proportion them in relation to other shapes and all this other shit.
I don't know.
So that was where I got stuck up on.
Maybe. I don't know. But if you genuinely want to start, my suggestion is to take a bunch of like simple pencil drawings or sketches from like from history if you want. If like there's a particular artist that you really like, you take their sketches and you try to replicate their sketches. Or you could try and take just like a picture of like a person or a picture of yourself or a picture of your dog and focus exclusively on, okay, what shape is that dog's ear? How can I draw that dog's ear?
Yeah.
And then how do I correlate that to the rest of the head? Okay, this point is I'm going to make the eye of this dog the anchor for the rest of my lines.
Yeah.
So if the rest of my lines aren't in proportion to this eye, then I'm going to have to erase it and start again and go back to proportioning and all that kind of stuff. And you got to do that for a hot second.
Yeah, and that's also kind of why a lot of like the sketches that you'll see are just a bunch of overlapping shapes, is because it's like, here's the head shape, here's an ear shape, here's the shape of like a nose, here's the shape of their body, here's the shape of X, Y, and Z, and then erasing the overlapping lines and then fleshing it out. Yeah.
But 7 trapezoids with 2 circles, a triangle, and like 7, I don't know, squares.
Yeah, 7 little tiny squares, a handful of dots. But that I just love the way that you said that. You're just like, what shape is this dog's ear?
Yeah.
It just sounds funny. So that's pretty. It's like one of those things where it's like you you got started because you kind of were forced to get into it, but thank goodness you were actually like into it. Like,
yeah, there were plenty of people in my class who really did not like it, and they kind of just threw whatever they wanted together in it. They got through.
Yeah, I feel like I have like a mid association, if not a partially negative association with art stuffs in general, because the one singular art class that I took when I was in high school was a 3D design class, and I don't know why I did that. I did that because I didn't know any better, but I got thrown into there, so I had to figure out, like, I had to make one of the projects they had us do was to try and make a storage unit, like a container, but have the container be the shape of something.
Yes.
And I tried making a container the shape of like a sledgehammer, because that was just the most basic shape that I could make, and I still somehow fucked it up. Sorry, so we probably should get back on track here a little bit. So there's been a handful of times where we've talked about me getting into art and you getting back into art. Like, having it be like a big incorporated thing into your person.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of the stuff that you've done, and I've seen some of the accomplishments that you've made as a result of the art that you do. But I'm kind of curious to see like what kinds of art styles or what kinds of goals are you hoping to achieve from this art once you start getting back into it?
I think I've finally actually started to get back into it fully, and I've been committing to like actual bigger pieces. And currently, I'm working on a piece for a show at the gallery across the street, which is awesome.
Oh shit.
I don't really have a goal. The goal is to just create.
Okay.
I intend on getting it framed and making the pricing for the piece as much as it cost me to frame it. There's no goal of like making money. It is just, or like I want to show this to the world. It's purely just to create and participate in events. That's really the only goal for me personally.
Fair enough. It's just to make stuff. So I guess does that same thing apply to like styles that you're doing, or are you just here to just do things
Just do
and
things
just see where
I
it
want
takes
to
you?
create. It's just do things where I see what I want to create. I mean, my particular style as it has evolved over the years is I don't really like. Not that I don't like. It's just I have yet to actually really sit down and really study color, which is a whole different thing. And because of that, I did the opposite route, and I sat down and I went, thinking in negatives, and shadows and black and white. And I also just have a thing for black and white. I really do like black and white photography or um, paintings or any kind of media. I do think black and white could bring out a lot more boldness in some aspects.
Yeah, that
So
makes
that is
sense.
just how I've evolved over the years.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. I mean, is the plan to just keep going until you find something that you really, really like and stick with it? Or, I mean, are you
Just
really just embracing the
I
chaos of like, I'm
cannot
just going to
emphasize
do.
enough. There is no plan. There's no goal. It is I'm gonna create, and if I get better, cool. If I don't, a bit sad, but whatever.
Yeah, do better.
Yeah. It's purely just to. There is no goal. It's just to participate in the art community. I personally think, and I have enough confidence in myself to create pieces that I would be willing to actively put in shows and actively put in front of people's faces and say like, "Hey, this is cool, right?"
And then you have all of them like, yeah. And then you have
And
one guy in the back. He's like, no.
so I guess really the only goal is to get better, um, because I personally feel like I have achieved a goal of getting to a point where I'm capable of showing it off to people and not cringing at the sight of them looking at it.
Yeah. I hear you. Um, okay. Half of this follow up question was answered exactly by that, but I'm curious if a part of you is looking to venture off into looking at other like mediums of art in general or other techniques and not exclusively just referring to styles and aesthetics.
Okay, so different mediums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I I really do love watercolor. Um, Watercolor is a great medium. It's got a wide range of from like really faded colors to really bold and really eye-catching colors to being able to personally I think the best way to capture a sunset is through watercolor. Um, and I think watercolor is a beautiful medium. I've tried it. I suck. It's a whole different beast from what I'm used to, which is pen and ink.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just yeah. If I were to actually go into a new medium, that would be the medium. Would be to go into watercolor because there are some amazing pieces that I've seen that are just stunning, and they make the bluffs look so much better than they actually do.
Yeah.
So if I were to pick a medium to actually go into next, it would be watercolor.
Yeah, fair enough. And I can totally understand how there's a lot of different you almost have to change your mindset when you switch over from something that is that could be perceived as being a lot more refined, I guess, a lot more straight edge, a lot, refined is kind of just like a refined, like cleaner look, I suppose, versus watercolor where there's colors overlapping all the time and it kind of looks a little bit messier, but like an intentional messy, I guess. And you kind of
Yeah.
just have to figure out how to work with that. So I can definitely see how that is a huge leap and a huge step outside of what you normally do. And you're like, ah,
Yeah, because I'm so used to like where I put the ink is where it stays.
stop
With
moving.
watercolor, there it's kind of I don't even know. It's kind of wishy-washy but not at the same time, and it requires a lot of patience and it's a lot of patience and time that sometimes I just don't have.
Yeah.
So I'll just be over here like, oh man, I really really want to do watercolor, and then I spend 30 minutes doing it. I'm like, why isn't this drying faster? Uh, and then I'll get upset, and then I'll stop, and then I'll come back later and try and do better. And sometimes I will, sometimes I won't.
Yeah.
But
Literally just the medium of creatively watching paint dry.
yeah, yeah. People who work with oils are really patient because that shit takes forever
Yeah.
to dry. There's a reason why a lot of people paint in acrylic. That is because it dries so much quicker.
Yeah. Okay. So just a little bit ago you were like, yeah, I think I'm comfortable. Not only do I think, I know that I am comfortable enough with my own skill sets where I could create things for a neighboring art show down the street, across the street, and I'd feel perfectly comfortable doing that. Does that same thought process and logic to you, does that apply to, like, would you ever, are you, or would you ever, well, how did I word this? What the fuck? Oh, sorry. Do you or would you ever have plans to work towards art, to be good enough at it, to be able to like take commissions from people like over the internet?
I have.
Wait, yeah. Why am I asking that? Wait, this is. You can tell how old these questions were written, actually, because I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, no, I've had
You
multiple
bartered
people.
art with somebody else.
Yeah, no, I literally have. I've designed multiple tattoos for people. I didn't ask them to pay me. For some of them, I just did it because I simply wanted to.
Yeah.
And this one, they just happened to be like, "Hey, I want a tattoo," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. I can do that." And
oh, like a miscellaneous conversation where they were like, "Man, I want to get a tattoo," and you're like, "All right, I got it."
well, yeah, because I mean that's happened multiple times before. I'm going to work on Dakota's here soon.
Shouts out Dakota. Dakota, if you see this, what is it?
Yeah. I'll let him decide whether or not he wants
You know what?
to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let you answer.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, do you? So that, I mean, you've obviously done a lot of tattoo stuff, but like, I haven't like seen a lot of the art that you do outside of stuff that you've sent to us. Obviously, being like tattoo concepts, tattoo finalized arts, and like characters, I guess.
Yeah.
So are those like? I'm trying to. This is gonna sound disrespectful, and I don't mean for it to sound like that, but like a full. Well, no. Every art piece is a full piece once you've finished it.
A completed piece, start to finish. You thought I'm going to make a piece.
Yes.
That's not just in my sketchbook.
Yeah, well that, but I'm also like, for some reason because I always think of art that exists in like art galleries and art that even people get commissioned for to be like scenery, because that's just a schmuck that I am.
Gotcha.
But I don't know if you do that, so it's not really fair for me to assume that you do.
I don't think I completely understand the
I don't
The
think I
question?
understand the question either. So never mind. Honestly, yes,
Okay.
you've done a lot of bartering with people. You've been like, let me make this for you, or you've been like, you were already planning on doing this for me because I asked you to. So now, because you were also looking for something that I can do, let me pay you back with this thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
So okay, that's cool. I wish I had the ability to like I wish the business that I work in is as lucrative to be able to just do that. Like, because that's cool.
Oh, this isn't lucrative.
Lucrative isn't the right word, sorry, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, no. You matter of fact, you might technically, objectively, be losing money doing this, but you're having a good time.
I mean, I haven't really spent much money on it. I mean, the thing about pen and ink is that you really don't run out of, unless you're doing a huge and a larger piece, you really
Yeah.
don't run out of pens
Yeah, but like,
very quick.
but like when I think of people trade, because this is the thing that I think about a lot is like people will trade physical objects for other physical objects, and then people will trade art in return for services, or the other way around, or whatever. And that's like the thing. Like that's the most common. I guess that's the most common. What's the word? That's the most common type of trade that I see in the creative space.
Well, yeah,
Like,
because none of them have money.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, no, well, one, none of them have money, but I mean, I think about the fact that like people aren't out here. Like, I'm not trading. Like, there's emote artists that I talk to who make emotes for my Twitch, and I message them on Twitter. Those people are also live streamers. I couldn't just ask them, "Hey, if you make me this emote, what can I make you? Can I like physically make you like a background track or something?" Like that's not something I can do. That's not how the industry that I
Have you
operate in
tried?
works. Have I tried?
Have you
No, but
tried?
that's also because nobody is like they're not
So,
hankering for that kind of thing.
okay, I was about to say you could probably create music for people and get something out
Yeah,
in
I mean, well,
return. That's great.
but I guess at that point now I'm in the boat that you're in, where I just kind of do it for people because I feel like it. Like with Variant,
Yeah,
granted, I got paid in the case with Variant's client, but I was like, I'm going to do this for them because they want me to do it, and Variant's not going to be able to do it. I know that for sure.
I think the basis of this question is you're selling yourself short.
I don't know. Well, hold on. So let's psychoanalyze this now, right? So here's the thing. No, I think it's just that like there's a lot more of an allure for people to be like, I can do this for you if you can provide me art, because art has a lot more objective value to people when it comes to like in the case of this, like if I knew how to make art, well,
Well, you do. I mean, you make music, and music is art.
yeah,
I just
but
think
you
there's different. I think you're talking about physical like pieces.
I'm talking
or
about
digital
visual art versus
like visual art.
audio art, I guess.
Yeah, which there's a way larger demand for visual art.
Precisely, yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like that's a thing that's more colloquially known as being like a tradable good, you know, like
Yeah.
like people buy beats from other people. Like artists will do that, obviously.
Yeah.
But I also don't think I make music that is made for artists to be on, really, and so that's why I don't really get that kind of trade with them. And the people like I operate in a lot of other industries. How do I explain this? I do a lot of trading and I buy a lot of things from people who do things in industries that the industry that I physically work in does not mesh well with, in terms of being able to just provide value to another person outside of just straight up giving them money.
Fair enough. Honestly.
If that was all too complicated, I'm sorry. We can talk about it later.
Okay. Understood.
I wasn't expecting this conversation to go as dumb shit as it is right now. What the hell's wrong with me?
I have no idea.
I don't know, Peter. You're so much smarter than I am. I'm flubbing.
I disagree with that. But okay.
Okay. All right, cut the shit. Let's get into your job. What do you do professionally, and what does that job entail? What do you do?
I am a business associate. I am the right-hand man of Anita. Obviously, Anita Marie Gallery.
Oh, that's the person who like owns. Oh, I guess the gallery's name.
Yes.
That's cool. That's nice.
So I kind of advertise. I work at the gallery every first Friday and every week. I sell paintings. I work directly with the artists that are at the studio, and I set up the studio every time before they start classes. So I'm kind of just like a laborer, but also I kind of run the website. I advertise, and I do a lot of things. Hence the reason associate.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think it's crazy to see that you do all of those things, and yet whenever you go to work, you're there for like 4 hours, and that's like
Yeah. Here's the thing: we need more people in. My work would be a lot more difficult if we had a lot more people in. So
like if you had a lot
you're
more people
listening to this,
working, or if you had a lot more people like
more people
customers.
coming into the actual gallery. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing: we sell fine art. Our cheapest painting is about $850.
Oh, yeah. That's about on brand.
Exactly. This is not the type of art you sell to people. This is the type of art that people will come in and they'll kind of get attached to it, and then you help them slowly edge their way towards buying the painting.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
this is not random schmo comes in and goes, sell me a painting, you know?
Yeah, because if random Joe Schmo wanted a painting, you know what they do? They'd go to Target.
Yeah, exactly.
they'd buy.
But
wall
if you
art.
want a good quality, basically, what I would say is investment quality art, you would come to an Edinburgh gallery, because that is how high quality this art is.
Yeah.
One of our artists create oil paintings that are almost indistinguishable. Indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that word. Can you say it for me?
Indistinguishable.
Indistinguishable
Industry standard.
from a picture.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And so it is. We need more people. And we need more clients.
You need more clients, but you also need more
investment quality
people
art
to work in the building to keep up with that.
No.
What?
Bro, I got that.
You're just that good?
Okay, so let me do some explaining. There's not much work involved in that. It's just a lot of talking. We don't need another person. We already have a backup person.
Yeah, because I suppose you aren't going to have a ton of people coming in all at once.
We're not going to have like 50 people come in that are going to be like, I need this art and I need it now.
Right.
You know, we don't really need another person. What we need is people coming into the building, recognizing the name, they obviously recognize the artist. I mean, I've had multiple people come in and recognize the artist, but
they were like, "Oh, yo, is that Peter?" And you're like, "Yes."
Yes. No. Chuck Mardoza and Richard Dalquist, two amazing, wonderful artists. But yeah, no, we need more clients.
Yeah, but I guess I'm operating under the assumption that, like, if you were to get more clients, how much more do you think you would need extra people to kind of say, like, you ever been to a Verizon store before?
Oh yeah, where they have like 3-ish people.
Yeah, but like one person walks in and somebody is dedicated to taking care of that person, and then in the middle of them, trying to sell them on buying like the newest iPhone or whatever, then another person comes in and they have their 2 kids with them, and then you have somebody else taking care of them,
relatively unnecessary, because people aren't going to come into the store and be like, all right, I need a phone case. We go find a phone case.
Yeah, they just walk in and just look around.
They walk in and they look around. They maybe spend 30 minutes. Maybe they spend an hour. I will get to people as I get to people. It's not really a thing where I need to like catch them in the middle of wanting the painting and get the payment immediately and then give them the painting and kick them out. I don't need to do that quickly.
Yeah, no, because
we really don't need.
Those people are going to be occupied by those people who are at least maybe potentially looking at something are going to be distracted by looking at the other art until you can get to them.
Yeah, either that or the art that they want to purchase. It's not really a job where I need a crap ton of people. I mean, the gallery across the street has like 4 people, and it's 2 stories.
Oh, damn. Okay, fair enough.
It's really unnecessary for more than just me and maybe one other person, depending on whether or not it's First Friday or not.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, do you? I guess that just I'm quickly curious. So, how many people on average do you have that work for the building in there at any? Like throughout the entirety of your shift?
2.
It's you and the owner of the building?
1 to 2. I'm usually one person by myself when it comes to every normal day of the week.
Yeah.
And then when it's First Friday, which is the first Friday of the month, that's the art walk day for downtown.
Yeah.
It's 2 people. It's me and Miss Anita. Or
Damn.
It's me and Anna. Or it's Anna and Miss Anita. It's.
So you really do just run that shit most of the time.
Well, yeah, we don't need that many people.
Yeah.
The whole job is just talking to people and letting people kind of explore.
Yeah.
It's also reading whether or not, okay, this person is interested in a painting. If they're not interested in a painting, then you really don't need to do anything for them. They'll walk around, they'll grab their snacks, they'll enjoy their stuff. Maybe you can have a little conversation with them if you're bored or if there's nobody else around. And maybe you think they might buy one of the cheaper paintings. You can talk to them.
Yeah.
Not saying that every time I talk to somebody who walks in the building, I'm trying to sell them a painting. Most of the time,
you're like
talking to them just to talk to them.
You're like, it is me and it is this person. I'm gonna hang out with them. Not hang out with them. I
Yeah,
want
no,
to talk to them.
I want to talk to them because we get some interesting people in. I've had a calligrapher who studied in Japan.
Calligrapher.
I've got a sculptor who came from New York. We had an entire conversation about the traffic in Colorado and how he said everybody speeds here, and I said, well, if you ain't going 45, then you're not going fast enough. Um, you should talk to plenty of people. It's most of the job is talking.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously when you're trying to sell paintings, and then the small part of it is managing the building, managing the website, managing the studio, and then setting out drinks and all that. It ain't much. It ain't much physical work. It's just a lot of flapping my what is it? Flapping my lips.
Yeah, flapping my lips is how that would be go.
Flapping my gums, moving them around, I guess. Yeah.
Moving all of your gums around.
Moving all of them.
Gross.
Left, right, up, down,
back,
inside out, backwards,
east, diagonal,
yes. South by southwest.
Okay, that's giving me a whole different. I mean, I guess there have been times where I hope this doesn't get you like in trouble. There have been plenty of times where you've just been like, "Hey guys, I'm at work," and you're like in the Discord call for like 10 minutes. So I guess I could have.
No one there.
Yeah. So I guess I should have assumed that like it is kind of just that a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean on the weekdays, it's not like fine art, especially the ones we're selling. It's not like it's in high demand, so it's not really like we have a bunch of people in every week. Occasionally, every so often, there'll be a week where I don't have anybody in. But most of the time, I do have a couple people in every day. They'll pop in, they'll say hello. Sometimes they look like they're going to buy something. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they say they do, and then they leave, and then they don't. Sometimes they say they do, and they do buy it. Sometimes they say they don't want to buy a painting, and they end up buying a painting. Yeah.
No, that's totally fair. So given the fact that at most you will probably have 2 people in that building ever, is it really just you have one person kind of just managing everything, and that's kind of like the one position that exists in that building?
Yeah, it's me. I am the right-hand man.
Yeah.
I set up the studio. I clean the place occasionally. It doesn't really need much cleaning. I set up the place for First Fridays. I set up the place for the days that I work. I help around with the website. I check the tags and all that kind of stuff. Miss Anita definitely does a lot of stuff, except she deals with all of the managing the money,
the
of
executive
the place,
nature of everything,
sales, and the executive nature of things. I am the every position. I am an associate.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was supposed to be like you go to like their Indeed like a job listing, and it's just classified as the Peter position.
Yeah, the Peter position. That's exactly what it is.
That's respectable. This is going to be potentially one interesting way to have to describe this when I ask this question. But what are some of your favorite pieces of art that have existed or that currently still exist in that building? What does it look like, and why do you enjoy them so much?
That'll be interesting for the podcast media.
How good are you at describing colors?
Not great. We'll see. Yeah, this is a very common question that's asked a lot from the people who end up walking, and it's like they ask, "What's your favorite painting?" I'm gonna be real with you, fam. I like them all. I don't really have a favorite painting. I just kind of steer them next to a painting that I think looks cool at the time.
Yeah, it's just like whatever catches your eye.
As a general description, a lot of these paintings are landscapes. They're landscapes of either Colorado or of Italy. There's a very, very beautiful piece of Venice. And it's the city on water, all that kind of stuff. So it's a beautiful piece of this kind of ferry boat sitting next to what would kind of look like an apartment building, but the road is made out of water, and it's kind of during the noonish time. You're seeing a lot of glinting sunlight coming off of the waves, and you can see the river kind of slowly bow back and forth, and the ship casts a shadow on it, but there's some little stone spots and all that kind of stuff. And it's done with a particular brushstroke done by Richard Dalquist. Richard Dalquist, he is the type of artist that has a formula and a method to how he does his pieces, you can pick apart his paintings and you can see that he has very particular brushstrokes. Um, he does his clouds a certain way. He does his water a certain way. Um, and then you can see that. And then if I were to take an example from Chuck, there is a painting of it's just a forest, but it's the name of this painting I believe is Just Before the Snow, and it's of no, never. It's not Just Before the Snow. It's Snow Melt. That's what it's called. It's Snow Melt. And you can see just like a kind of a creek, a little tiny creek, kind of melting away, and a bunch of reeds and tall grasses kind of covering the bottoms of trees. But he does it in such a particular way where there is no particular brushstrokes or style that he uses. He goes for accuracy over design,
Over like a technique.
over a technique. His paintings look like fucking pictures. And they're beautiful.
That's nice. I could picture it in my head about as well as you could imagine from it just being verbally described.
Yeah, I mean, you could always come. I could always take you to the gallery when you come down.
Yeah, I mean, hold on. Let's take a quick aside here for a second. My girlfriend's out the entirety of this week and next week and part of next week, I think. So if I wanted to, as like a joke, I could come down there from like a Saturday to like a Monday or some weird shit. It wouldn't make any sense.
That's up to you, my man. I currently cannot offer you a space. Well,
You can't comfortably offer.
You know what? You know what? I think a little aside. I think you could genuinely do that. So if you wanted to do that, that's up to you.
Yeah, that would do it. It would just depend on how whatever the flights are.
Yeah, I am also like the only person here right now besides Ellie, and that's it.
And that is literally it.
Dakota's in Japan, Mariah's in Israel, and
in Israel. What the hell? Hold on. What the hell is she doing in Israel?
I don't know. Her mom decided to. It doesn't matter. Her mom decided to force her to Israel.
Well,
that's to take her to Israel for a forced vacation.
That's how it goes. Yeah. So I guess what I'm getting out of this is that now this is the second episode where it's been somebody over in Colorado and they've been like, "Come with me on a day where I do stuff and see what I do," and I've been like, "Okay."
Yep.
So a minimum of like 1.5 of my days is now taken up by following people around to what they do in a day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all mine will take is like literally 3 hours. I'll drive you down there. I'll open the place. We can open it whenever. It doesn't really matter. Because I have the keys to the place.
Yeah, that's a good
because
point.
I'm associate. I can give people private showings.
Yeah,
So.
fair enough. So okay, yeah. Let's reel it back a little bit. We talked about your favorite pieces, and that gives me like a general kind of thought at pieces that you quite enjoy in general, depictions you quite enjoy, styles you like, all that stuff. But I have to kind of reformat this question to accommodate the special situation you find yourself in. And this is going to be a twofer. This is going to be a twofer question. The first one is, in your pursuit of just being a dope-ass artist, what's something that you've spent a lot of money on that I would probably look at, or anybody would probably look at and go, yeah, that shit's kind of excessive?
I think it would be paper. It would be paper. It wouldn't be the instruments I use. Although I did spend $13 on a mechanical pencil.
Oh shit!
They're insane. Great. They're great. They're awesome mechanical pencils. They come in 0.5. They're Zebra brand. They're amazing. They've got soft tips that are kind of mushy, but also still stiff. They're awesome and they're great. And paper. But I've kind of wormed my way from paying for paper because I know a lot of people who just kind of have the art supplies laying around but don't want to use them. So I kind of just be like, "Hey, yo, you want to use that?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Can I have it?" And they're like, "Hell yeah." So I would say the most expensive thing is paper, but the most expensive thing I've spent money on is a mechanical pencil.
Is that $13 mechanical pencil?
$13 mechanical pencil.
In regards to pencils, yeah, that'll probably do the trick. Somehow I will always find a way to find an expensive version of a thing that somebody definitely doesn't need to spend all that much money on. And while I'm looking for this, I can ask you the other part of the question, which is that what are some of the most expensive pieces that currently exist or existed at some point in your art gallery?
So we had a piece called the Winter Warrior. I do not exactly remember the sizing of this painting, but if you could imagine like a dining room table, that would be around the size.
Oh, damn, okay.
Of this painting, maybe a bit larger.
Yeah.
Um, this painting was done by Chuck, so it is a beautiful, photo perfect painting of a American Indian chief riding on a decorated war horse during the wintertime, and he's standing next to a creek, and there's snow falling down and a bunch of trees. And when I say this is photorealistic, he pays attention to detail everywhere, everywhere. You will not find a piece, a part of that piece that isn't decorated or just muddled or not paid attention to.
Yeah, like looks a little bit out of place.
Would you like to take a guess to how expensive this painting was?
I do not know how to properly value the value of art, so I am not even going to. I couldn't even begin to imagine how much that could cost, because you said that you sell paintings that are on average $850 at like the absolute
Yes.
baseline level.
Yes.
But I also, so I really couldn't even begin to guess.
So it is $13,800.
Golly.
That piece is currently trying to be donated to a museum because we don't want it anymore.
Oh.
It is a beautiful painting, but unless we get some oil person to buy it or some rich realtor to buy it, no one's gonna buy this painting.
Yeah, that is a good point.
That is the unfortunate reality of it. But it is a beautiful painting nonetheless. It deserves to be hung up somewhere where people will see it, whether that be privately owned or in a museum.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was still trying to find the thing that I was looking for. Oh yeah, okay, I found the pen. So for Christmas, I was like, you know what I really want? I really want a dope ass pen, because I have a bunch of dope ass notebooks and a couple of other things. And so I went and I was just trying to find a nice quality pen, like a pen with some weight to it. This pen costs $60.
Damn.
This pen's about the price of a full priced game.
God damn.
And what's ironic is while you were talking about that, I was trying to find it and I can't find it. Wait.
Nice.
This is a break in immersion.
Oh.
I still hold on. No, I still can't find the pen.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
All right. I'll get back to it. My bad.
Fair enough.
But all right, Peter, how does it feel knowing that you are now the person who has the cheapest item that you have spent a quote unquote excessive amount of money on? And that wasn't meant to be an insult, I swear.
I feel honored because there's two types of artists, honestly. You've got artists that have spent hundreds, maybe close to thousands of dollars on supplies and pens and inks and markers and paper, and then you got types of artists that stole a number 2 pencil from a toddler and they picked up an eraser off the ground and they created the Mona Lisa again in full color.
How did they manage to create it in full color with only a pencil?
I don't fucking know, but there are some people who are like that.
I don't get it.
So,
because I
feel honored.
Because I think the person who's technically spent the second least amount of money that would be considered excessive, the pursuit of their hobby, is somebody who was also doing art who had to spend $600 on, not had to, but who spent $600 on a tablet plus $120 on a pen, and then had to spend however much money the current tablet that they use is.
God, I wish I could have an actual drawing tablet.
It'd be pretty cool, yeah. They're really nice as a person who doesn't even have one.
I have a cheapo $100 one that I don't really use very often. It's $100. The reason why I call it cheapo is because it is $100 and it is not a screened one.
Oh.
It is. Yeah, exactly. It's the one that people buy for Osu. So, I own that. It's okay. I just don't like it because my screen is like 10 times bigger than the little tiny piece of thing.
Local artist buys $100 tablet meant for Osu. Semicolon doesn't play Osu.
It's meant for art. It's just people use it primarily for fucking Osu.
As far as I'm concerned, it's meant for Osu now. So so on the next episode, I'm gonna go find I'm gonna find a professional Osu player, and they're gonna tell me the same thing about that tablet.
You're gonna be like, the most expensive thing I bought was this $100 Wacom tablet. All right.
So this is a question that I have asked a couple of people I've been trying to stray away from it more only because of the fact that I know that it doesn't necessarily always lend itself to content of any kind. But I'm curious if, because I don't know how diverse the set of artists that you end up having paintings for ends up there. Like, I don't know how many different artists you have paintings for
Two.
in there. Only two,
We have two master artists,
and that's
Richard
it.
Douglas and Chuck Mardos.
And that is it.
Yes, that is
Jesus
it.
Christ. Okay.
Gallery across the street, though, is a whole different story. They have, I would say, around 20 different artists, all in different studios in that building.
Damn. Okay.
They do showings that include artists that are beyond just that gallery. They try to switch it up every other month and stuff like that.
Huh. Okay.
There's even a tattoo shop in there, and that's where I got my tattoo.
Now that's where I need to go for my next one. Well, maybe not my next one, but I could say my next
He
one.
was a really sick guy. His name was Lumpy. It's not his actual name, but his name was Lumpy.
Hell yeah.
And he is the one who did my sword tattoo. And
I'll go back to it when I would have balanced my other shoulder out.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't go to a place like that if I wanted to get something like larger. Because I guess just so I can let you in on this before I ask the actual question is like I think my next plan for a tattoo might be getting the framework for a half sleeve.
Oh no, he could definitely do a half sleeve.
No, that's
He's
not the
been-
problem. The problem is I don't think I have the time
Oh,
to
yeah.
commit to going unless I wanted to
Yeah.
go there once, get the entire skeleton for it, and then, come back
and
6
fuck off
months
for another
later.
year.
Yeah, 6 months to a year and come back and be like, "Hey, you remember me?" And he's like, "No."
Hey, you remember me? Like, no, I don't. I really don't.
he's like, "What are you?" I'm like, I do the podcast. He's like, "Everyone does podcasts. You're not." It's anywho.
What are you, a white male?
What-
And you do a podcast? I'm so surprised.
And then I'm like, "No, here's the thing. I do too, idiot."
oh shit.
No. So I guess this question kind of can apply to either it will probably more likely apply to the other one than yours, but I don't even know if it'll apply to either of them because again, I don't get how art works. Are there ever like trends for things that you notice that arrive in galleries? Like there's like a theme of like a collection of stuff that shows up, or is it just like whatever comes up comes up?
kind of depends on what the artist's circle is.
Because of my gallery, it's landscapes exclusively.
Yeah.
They stick into their area of landscapes. They communicate with other artists that do landscapes. In the gallery across the street, it's kind of a random smidge podge of whatever the fucking hell.
Yeah.
It could be surrealism, it could be modern art, it could be oil painting, it could be acrylic, it could be of a landscape, it could be of a cityscape, it could be of a skeleton fishing, it could be of a flower girl, it could be of Adam getting eaten by the animals in the garden while eating a leaf. It could be
Is that something that actually has
the
existed?
cloud-
That seems way
yes.
too specific to just be a drop of the hat. Like,
no, that was an actual piece. It looks pretty
hell
It
yeah.
looked pretty good. It could be a black and white photograph of the bluffs. It could be anything. It just depends on the circle. Going more in depth into that, I mean, there is an entire like associations and clubs that are a part of that gallery. I mean, there's a photography club in that gallery. There is a modern art club in that gallery. There is a surrealist club in that gallery. So I mean, it depends on the artist's circle. There is no really a trend unless you consider what I would say the closest thing that would be what you're considering is like TikTok trends of throwing paint onto a canvas and then spinning it around in a drill until it becomes the color brown, because if you mix all the colors it'll become brown, and then calling that
Yeah. No. Typically when I ask people about trends, that's actually what I'm referring to, is I am referring to like social media trends that influence the way that people perceive a specific art form or whatever. And in the case of what you're talking about, I'm literally just talking about like the other definition that you could apply as a trend, like a consistent like similarity with pieces that come in, or like, if you were to theoretically, if you visited that art exhibit across the street every day, have there been any patterns that you've noticed of stuff that showed up or stuff that's been on
No.
display? It's just whatever.
The closest pattern you could get to is every month they try to make a theme for their exhibit, or for their showing, and even then, still, a lot of the pieces are quite different because it's different media, it's different subjects, it's different meetings. It's different. Everything. It's just gotta fit to like an arbitrary set of rules. Like one of them was, it was like what was it? It was like jumbo shrimp. That was the name. It was the name.
Okay.
The whole gimmick behind it was big things done small and small things done big.
Oh, I just
That's
assumed it was
jumbo shrimp.
oxymoronic in nature.
It's just a bunch of shrimp. No, but it was big things done small and small things done big. And there was a picture of an acrylic giant red spider with green eyes looking at this tiny human and a very tiny green doorway shining light onto this gruesome scene. And then there was across the hallway a giant sculpture of a wasp made completely out of scrap metal.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so
There's not really a pattern because it completely depends on what the artist feels like making.
yeah, it's more so just like if anything, it's more like when those kinds of things come around, it's an overarching I guess like meta's not the word I'm thinking of, but I guess it's close enough. Like
The art meta.
yeah, not even art meta in that regard, but like the thing that ties all of these things together isn't, like you said, an arbitrary set of rules.
I can't
But
believe you
it can
picked
be
surrealism
executed.
into going into modern art. What are you, some fucking idiot?
Yeah, dude, don't you know that was nerfed 3 months ago?
Exactly. Didn't you know that was nerfed in the 20th century? Dumbass.
But no, that's completely fair to understand. But also, I think that execution is pretty cool. Like, as a person who, again, is not into art like that, I think the concept of that is really cool.
Yeah.
It's like there's a tattoo artist that I keep seeing on TikTok that's like, people will ask for comments for him to make a bunch of tattoos in different styles that encapsulate something, like that encapsulate overthinking as a concept, that encapsulate a person who sells themselves short when doing whatever, like just like a completely arbitrary concept,
Arbitrary thing.
something you can't put a finite like degree of visualization on. So I see what you're getting at, and that's pretty cool. I like that. This is okay. The most recent question that I put in here was when I had wrote these questions up. I was actually talking with my friend about this because I hadn't talked to them in a few weeks. And he was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I was like, "Oh, good. I actually just finished writing up these questions for my friend for a podcast I'm going to record with him in a few weeks." And he asked what it was about, and I told him what it was about, and I kind of gave him some of the information. And then he asked me about something called Masterworks. Have you heard of that?
Explain more.
So, to my knowledge, what Masterworks is it's almost like you could invest in stocks, but investing in the art itself, but not investing in the way of like you put your money into it and then you take it.
Yeah, yes. Earlier in the podcast, I said the art that is produced is investment quality art.
Yeah.
By buying this painting, you are submitting. This painting is $13,000 when I bought it here. Future down the line, because it is a unique painting done by a master artist, it's just going to increase.
Yeah.
And when they die, then when that artist dies, it's going to go exponentially. So
Yeah.
that is what a masterwork is. It is. There's just pieces that are very popular, done by people who would be considered master artists.
Yeah. In the case of the article that I'm looking at, and I sent it to you, by the way, so if you want to look at it, you can. It describes it as, I think this is describing Masterworks almost as like a platform where it describes itself as a platform that quote unquote sells shares in works of fine art.
Oh, I didn't know it was a platform.
Yeah, and that's why I was like what you're talking about with Masterworks, that makes sense. That's just the natural cycle of how art done by.
I'm guessing that platform just does what I just explicitly did, but it's kind of in like an NFT kind of way.
That I didn't want to use the word NFT, but that's kind of what I'm imagining it to be, unfortunately.
Well, that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, I think that might be what it is, but the concept of it when it was described to me is very interesting to me. So I mean, outside of the fact that it's described, if you were to take out I guess you can't really take out the NFT nature in it because that might just be what it is. I'm curious how you feel about the principle of it.
I mean, it kind of sounds like you're taking the personal interaction out of it.
Yeah, that is a good point. You're turning it into a business and not in a good way.
Into a business, not in a good way, especially if it's like just like an online platform where you look at like a digital piece. and then you kind of just, especially if it's an actual physical piece. A lot of the places, if you're actually going to go buy a physical piece, you're going to meet the artist. You can ask questions about it and stuff.
Yeah.
Unless the artist is dead or they're doing a
No, get a Ouija board, summon them, and be like,
yeah,
hey,
get a Ouija board. Summon that motherfucker.
be like,
Summon that motherfucker. I gotta ask him about his inspiration behind this piece.
yeah, go all English teacher on him and be like, so what is this blue supposed to represent? And he's like, I
Oh,
was too
fucking
poor.
no.
He's like, I was too
Blue.
poor to afford purple. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it was fucking. Oh, what's his name? The most important artist in the modern in
Picasso.
modern art. Yeah, Picasso. That's who you just referenced.
Oh, what? How? What?
He was too poor for one of his cubism pieces of a blue guitar. He was too poor to buy any other color of paint besides blue. I find it quite funny that you did not know what artist you were referencing.
No, I was just making a joke because, like, since I've been since I was in high school and then since leaving high school, that was always the joke of your English teacher trying to make more out of a situation than what it actually is. The
Yeah.
whole curtains are blue joke. Like, we made that joke on legacy episodes of the other podcast that we do. And
And if you want to listen to those legacy episodes, come to our sorry.
come to the Patreon. We don't have a Patreon.
The Patreon. Should make a Patreon. Anyway,
Should we? Yeah, we're doing business affairs on a different podcast. But no, like that's the whole joke. But I was just making a joke of like
well, you inadvertently referenced an
actual true story, and also
story.
referenced it to the person who you accidentally sent me your essay on.
Yep.
That's funny. But where did my documents go? I lost them. Okay, cool. I only have 2 more questions here. Well, I guess technically 3. The first one is this a job that you'd be content with having as a career if you had the ability to like move up for it to be like a sustainable full-time job type?
If it was sustainable, yes, I'd totally make it my career.
Fair enough. But I assume right now the fact that it is part-time is actually nice for you because you get to do something that you enjoy, but you don't have to commit a ton of time to it. And,
Yes.
you can still do your school stuff.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. I guess if it turns out that this isn't a job that can be worked on full-time like this to make you a living, what other would your ideal job basically be like this but full-time, or are there other routes that you'd be interested in going down that are art related or maybe not art related at all?
Well, I mean, if I could work in a gallery full time, and consistently sell paintings and manage, not just be somebody working purely on commission, actually manage a portion or a part of it, I would totally do that.
Yeah.
But as it stands right now, that's just not possible.
Fair enough. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that begs the question of I assume it's possible to find jobs like that, right? Like that is an actually legitimately feasible thing that you can find.
I just need. I've been working here for only a year.
Yeah.
I would like to get a lot more years under my belt before I go like, hey, hire me for a managerial position.
Yeah, because that just that's not.
Not
You got to build up to it, but that's fine.
exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. I guess that is the other half of the question: is are there any other types of jobs that you'd be interested in doing, or is it like?
I mean, if I could make art for a living, and with my random scheduled time of being like, oh, I feel like working on art, and do that for a living, that'd be cool. But that I don't think I could possibly do that.
Right. So ultimately,
not right now, obviously.
you are going to school, using this as a part-time job, and then are you actively after that fact going to be trying to be a hard charging gunner
No.
for this kind of thing?
No.
No.
I am pursuing a computer science degree and a job in computer science so that my hobbies like this can actually become a side job. They're not intended to be profitable, but if they pay me, that's good.
Yeah, no, I guess that would make sense.
I am getting a main job so that my side job, which I would like for me to be my main job, can be supported.
Yeah, I hear you saying. Yeah, and I guess there was like a 3-month stint. It's not a stint. There was a 3-month period where there was a lot of computer science talk in this Discord.
Yes.
So I guess I should have kind of like assumed that because like
Yeah.
half of our friend group is going into computer science right now.
Yeah. First it was Dakota, then it was me, and then
And it was
it's-
Variant. And I think
Variant.
isn't Jero doing
Right.
that too?
Yeah, J-Ro's also doing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe not half, but more than I
Most.
expected.
Yes.
So
Well, it's a job that's never going to go away, and it's a job that everybody needs. It like a lot of people need computer science.
yeah.
So
So that's reasonable, yeah. Cool. Well, I guess with all of that out of the way, is there any other details or any other pieces of information that you wanted to give people before, like just anything that you think should have been covered in the recording but maybe wasn't?
honestly, no, I think you did a great job with your questions.
I try my best. I'm just glad that if I was finding somebody that works professionally in an art area, that it was a friend that I have, because it makes this
Yeah.
portion of it easier to handle. So that's cool. Yeah, I guess with that, that's kind of a wrap. Because I know you so well, I know that you don't really have anything. Well, you know what? Hold on. No, plug away. Plug whatever you want.
If you're in the Colorado area and you've listened to this and you're like, I want to go see that gallery, come visit me at the Anita Marie Fine Art Gallery. We're in downtown. If you just plug the name into your Google whatever, you'll find it. Yeah, I'll be there personally every Friday and every Saturday from 5 to 7. And every first Friday I'll be there from 5 to 8. So if you're interested, come on down.
And didn't you say they have a website as well?
Work in progress.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, cool. Yeah, next time I'm down there, you've got to show that to me, because even if I'm not the most into it, I'm sure you could incidentally make me at least be kind of into it, because it sounds like a good time. So
Yeah.
that's good. Well, I mean, yeah. On the note of the art gallery, once again, I want to thank you for taking your time to come on here, because I know that there's so many better things you could probably be doing with your time right now.
Honestly, it's gonna be after this. I'm gonna probably go upstairs and get some food, and then try and convince you to play games.
I mean, you don't have to try and convince me to do anything, because the only thing I have to do is my laundry, and I think it's in the dryer right now, so like I'm chilling.
Fuck yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, no, genuinely. It was a good time learning about all this stuff. I feel like I've learned a lot more about you, and if I haven't made it obvious enough, the people that are in this group are people that I like learning about. So especially if I can do it on a platform that can increase the exposure for anything, that's a net benefit in general, I think. So it's been very enjoyable talking with you here.
Hell yeah.
As Peter mentioned earlier, he's also on a lot of the Nothing Is Anything stuff that we do, because that's the first thing I'm plugging. We have a YouTube channel, we have a podcast, and those are kind of the two biggest places where you can find us. You can just search Nothing Is Anything on either YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you get your podcasts, and you will more than likely find it. It's very colorful, lots of orange and blue. It looks pretty nice. We post funny
Classic
clips.
NIA.
Yeah, classic NIA, as if they're supposed to know that, because this is, divorced from that, kind of, not really. But no, we post a lot of funny gaming clips on there. We post funny gaming videos. We
Married but separated.
Yeah, legally set. You know what? It doesn't matter. But no, we post games like Sea of Thieves, Gunfire Reborn. We post games like, Gunfire Reborn's not coming out this week. I just spoiled something. I'm a loser.
Uh-oh.
Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Sea of Thieves, GTFO, the occasional off the beaten path game. For the podcast, we talk about gaming related things, because that's the thing that we do the most. So that's where you can find that. If you're looking for me specifically, which God help you if you are, I'm on everything. At DJ Cereal Sauce, all one word, DJ Cereal Sauce with spaces, or DJ Cereal Sauce with underscores. If you can't find them, I'm not on there. But if you're really interested in any of them, you can also find the links down in the description. And normally I'm the person who has to say something funny to end this off, but given that this is normally what you do on the other podcast, and now you're here, you get to be the person to end the podcast.
My God, I was like, finally, I got a break from saying something funny.
No.
All right. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. All right. Hold on.
I don't. Okay.
I wasn't preparing for this moment because I assumed I didn't have to do it. Do that into Google. I'll go to images. And I just found a picture of an antique German tin litho penny toy of a horseless carriage car on Etsy. It looks terrible.
What the fuck does that mean?
I have no idea, but that's what I found.